Today we're opening Pack 5, 1997 from the Magic the Gathering 30th Anniversary Countdown Kit. Visions, the first set in 1997, was a continuation of the story introduced in Mirage from the year before. And while Visions didn't introduce any new mechanics, it did introduce a card design that would forever change the game in a positive direction. The Comes into Play effect, or as we know it today, the Enters the Battlefield trigger. This ability appears on an entire cycle of lands, as well as some well-designed creatures like Necrotal and Manivore, both of which see play in my cube today. Other powerful cards that show up in the set are Quirion Ranger, a mainstay in Legacy Elves, Fire Blast, a great red finisher, and one of my favorites, Vampiric Tutor, an instant speed tutor that lets you search your deck for any card you could possibly want and put it on top for just 1 black and 2 life. The speed and power of that effect is so good that it's considered to this day one of the best tutors in the game. Next in 1997, Portal came out. This was meant to be a simplified version of the game and a starter level version of the Magic set. Though I doubt there will be any cards from Portal in this pack, Personal Tutor does see play today and is quite collectible. Next comes Weatherlight, which is sort of a prelude to a multi-year story-spanning collection of sets. The story is built around Gerard and his crew on the flying ship the Weatherlight, and this set is sort of the assembly of that crew as they prepare on their first story, which will show up next. Weatherlight is an interesting set too, because the design was created before the story was bundled into it. So Weatherlight, the set, is mechanically built around the graveyard, and the story doesn't really do too much with that. Some of the standout cards from Weatherlight, though, have nothing to do with the graveyard. Cards like Gemstone Mine, Lotus Veil, and Null Rod. Null Rod has the single best piece of flavor text in the history of the game. Closing out the year, we get Tempest, which really kicks off the Weatherlight story. Tempest takes place on the Plane of Wrath, a world ravaged by powerful storms, and the Weatherlight crew is searching for their captured captain Sisay. Tempest also introduced a beloved creature type, the Sliver. Slivers function as part of a hive mind, meaning that they all have a shared collective consciousness. And how better to represent that in Magic cards? All Slivers share the abilities of any Slivers in play. I do remember when Slivers came out, folks were trying to figure out what the optimal build was and what the best collection of attributes among Slivers would make up the best Sliver deck. Another fan favorite card from the set is Wasteland. This was meant to be a rebalancing of Strip Mine from the Antiquity set. While Wasteland is very strong and isn't included in Standard or Modern, it sees a ton of play in Legacy, and you could say that the entire format is built around the concept that Wasteland is a strong part of the metagame. Some of the other notable cards in Tempest include Reanimate, Curse Scroll and Scroll Rack, Time Warp, Allurin, Ancient Tomb, Altar of Dementia, Earthcraft, Lotus Petal, and the Cycle of Medallions. Okay, let's see what's inside the 1997 pack. Tradewind Rider. This is a very cool card. It doesn't see much play today, though it does show up in Cube Draft from time to time, and I'm sure it sees EDH play. It's an interesting card because it gives you a unique way of utilizing creatures as a piece of control. You can tap 2 untapped creatures and return a permanent to its owner's hand. It's a really good way of dealing with things that your opponent has on the battlefield and giving you a clear path to punch through the extra points of damage and win the game.